have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Thank you all for being here. It's great to welcome you all here today. This is a very special day. And to get us started, I would like to invite Mariama White Hammond to come forward and offer an invocation. Mariama is a Boston native and the executive director of Project Hip Hop, which stands for Highways into the Past, History, Organizing, and Power. In addition to majoring in international relations at Stanford University, Mariama has done extensive training in youth work and in trauma response. She received the 2004 Roxbury Founders Day Award and the 2005 Boston Celtics Heroes Among Us Award.
Will we all bow our heads? Oh God, we are here today, those of us who call you by many names and in many tongues. For some, you are Nosso Señor. For others, the Dieu du monde, and others, Creador. But by whatever name we call you, we are here today to celebrate the life of a great man who lived not many years among us and yet made a deep impact. We think about people in Afghanistan, in Darfur. We think particularly of our brothers and sisters in Haiti today. That we, like Dr. King, would look beyond our fear, live by faith, and continue to work until justice rolls down like rivers.
Thank you so much, Mariama. We were honored to have Mayor Menino join our committee and was planning to be here with us today, but unfortunately there's a bill signing that has delayed him, and we're honored to have an entire table of elected officials here. So I'm going to say thank you to Representative Willie Mae Allen, Senator Sonia Chang Diaz, City Councilor Rob Consalvo, and Ayanna Presley, and Felix Arroyo Jr. And I'm going to ask Representative Gloria Fox and Charles Yancey, who has also just arrived. I'm going to ask Representative Gloria Fox if she will come forward and just offer a few words of welcome in place of Mayor Menino.
As the veteran member of the House of Representatives, I bring you greetings on this historical day. It's always a historical day when I look out and I see my friends and all of my community members and all of the folks that have participated in the Sportsmen Tennis Club for many, many years. I tell the story all the time that before they had this beautiful home, they used to have a spot in the Cabot Street gym when they didn't have a home in Lower Roxbury. And I was one of the young organizers at the time that made some of that possible. So I'm happy to be back here in the beautiful home of the Sportsmen Tennis Club once again. I am here in behalf of all of the elected officials that are present. Can you stand up, table of elected officials? And in behalf of the city of Boston, you must know that I'm sure if Tom is going to be moving through the city, we stopped at a couple of places. And let me just say this also. We all have been doing some yeoman's work on the issue around Haiti. We prayed for the folks that have passed. We pray for the survivors of Haiti, but then there's more that you can do. You can send your money. You can send your money to Bank America, the big bucks. Or you can take out your cell phone and point in 20222 and send $10 donations right now before you get to the big bank. And every time you see those pictures on TV, 20222, it goes directly to them. Why do we ask for money? Because some of the supplies that are coming in, they're charging for. I'm here with a heavy heart. I say God bless each and every one of you. It is a joy and a pleasure to celebrate the living spirit of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But all of us can be drum majors for change. I do my little part, what little I can, and each and every one of you should do the same thing. And if we all do that, that dream, that vision, because he wasn't sleepwalking, that vision that he had will come true. We've got work cut out for us. I must end by saying, and at the same time, I hope you have a joyous day in celebration of the life of a loving man, a man of justice, and a man of peace. All of us should be living that legacy. Peace to each and every one of you. I bring you greetings from the Clayton General Court in behalf of all of the elected officials here and all of the elected officials that are making their way here. Peace.
Toni Wiley is doing a fantastic job bringing us together here today. And my friend and fellow campaigner from 1998, Marjorie Clapper. Isn't she a beautiful lady? She has been the inspiration behind a lot of these events, supporting the Sportsmen's Tennis Club. My name is Charles Yancey, and I've had the honor and privilege of representing this area since 1983. And this is a high point for the people in this community to have you come to support this important institution on a day honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I think it's very appropriate. I'm here simply to say thank you for all that you do throughout the year, and to join State Representative Gloria. Make sure that the person you support is someone who's in sync with the principles of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And let's support our young people. That's what we are all about, and I want to thank you, and let's give another round of applause for our Executive Director, Toni Wiley. Thank you.
Thank you both, and thank you again, Mariama, for setting our day up so beautifully. So today we're here to honor the memory of a man whose beliefs, compassion, and perseverance changed the world in such a way that if many of us hadn't lived through it, hadn't experienced it, we might not believe that it was possible for one man to have such a dramatic impact on so many lives all over the world, particularly amongst so many people that he never knew, never met, and never touched. We might conclude that he was such a powerful man because he was a great speaker, and if you heard him speak, you couldn't help but be changed. But I believe that a big part of what made him such a force of nature is that in his heart, he knew that none of us walks alone. No matter what we believe, no matter where we are, someone came before us and paved the way for us. Someone will come behind us, and they're watching to see if we're going to clear a path for them. And while we're here on this earth today, we must live in community. And I believe it was that knowledge in his heart that led him to take on the battles that he took on. And because we have this responsibility to follow in that path, we also have the responsibility, as I've said, to pave the way. Someone climbed the corporate ladder before us, and they left the ladder down for the person coming behind them. Someone fought a battle they knew they couldn't win, at least not the way we define victory, and at least not in their lifetime. But they knew the battle had to be fought for someone, and those are us that are sitting here in this room right now. As a way of honoring Dr. King's memory, today we are going to celebrate a man whose work and whose very life is dedicated to putting the principles that Dr. King fought for into practice today and every day. George Russell Jr. is Executive Vice President of State Street Corporation and their Director of Community Affairs. It's under his direction that the foundation works to equip less advantaged citizens with the resources they need to be well, thrive, and succeed. This means that, like Dr. King, his work impacts individuals and families around the globe that he will never see or know. We're all very fortunate that George serves to ensure that State Street Corporation embraces so much more than its bottom line. Thank you, George. We will hear from George immediately after lunch, when he will be introduced by Robert Lewis Jr., the chair of Sportsmen's Tennis Club and last year's honoree. We're fortunate to have Robert as the chair of our board because he has a heart for youth work and an understanding for nonprofit organizations that makes him a crucial part of every nonprofit in the city of Boston. Whether or not they know him, whether or not they ever meet him, his work and his passion makes their work possible. So thank you, Robert. Sportsmen is supported by a small but very committed board of directors, many of whom are here today, and they are listed in your program book. I'd like to ask all of our board members to please stand and be recognized. Additionally, I'm honored to lead a devoted staff of administrators, tennis pros, teachers, and mentors who make it a joy to come to work every day. If the Sportsmen's staff, pros, and volunteers could please stand or wave in your spaces and be recognized. The Sportsmen's family is rounded out by over 200 adult members who come here and play, many of whom could play other places, but they know that their support here supports the work we do for youth. So if any of our members are here, if you could please stand and be recognized. Sportsmen has a very special partnership. We partner with many organizations, but there's one organization, the Franklin Park Tennis Association, without whom we could not do some of our most crucial work. Many of them were here late into the night, Saturday night, helping us put the best face we could on a building that's nearly 40 years old. And I'd like to ask all of them to please stand and be recognized, the Franklin Park Tennis Association. And because we're here today to support you, I'd like to ask all of the Sportsmen's Tennis Club juniors to please stand. When you came in through the lobby today, you probably noticed that there was a table set up for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. We are working on behalf of a young lady that we certainly hope will be a junior player here one day. Her name is Tatiana Abrams, and she is basically fighting for her life. There is a need for a bone marrow transplant and a bone marrow donor. And we would like to thank a champion and someone who you want to have on your side, on your team. Joe Andruzzi is here, three-time Patriot winner, Super Bowl champion. He helped us to set this up, and I'd like to ask him and his family to stand and be recognized. Gloria Fox also mentioned. Marjorie Clapprood is almost a lifelong friend of mine. We've been in the trenches together, working against domestic violence, working against homelessness, and when I got here and saw the needs of the club, she's one of the first people that I reached out to, and I'm grateful that she is here along with her wonderful husband, Chris Spinazzola. If they could please stand and be recognized. So as many of you know, Sportsmen's Tennis Club was founded in 1961, and as you can read on the back of your program book, we've always been about more than tennis. We're about academic achievement because it leads to a better life. 6 days a week, you'll find juniors studying in the classrooms at the very far end of this clubhouse. We're also about social development because it builds stronger families and communities. We offer gender-specific programming that allows children to explore not only who they are, but what their place is and their contribution will be in the world around us. We're about reconciliation and diversity because that leads to a stronger Boston. And we know that we stand here today because of those who came before us and with an obligation to pave the way, making a better life for those who will come after us. We have a number of supporters here today. many who have walked behind us for much of what is coming up on our 50th year of being in existence here. And if you run a nonprofit, you know that you can't get to the 50-year milestone without people coming alongside and helping you. You can't sort of make new friends every year and every time you turn around. There have to be people that have chosen to stick with you through the lean times, through the good times, through the challenges, through the times when we show that we're still a work in progress. So one of our community partners came forward. I haven't seen her yet. Ashley from Northeastern, are you here? Could you please stand? This is Ashley. Ashley's with Northeastern University. And you know they're college players because the fundraiser was a midnight tennis party which ran from 10 at night to 6 in the morning. And they were on the courts until 6 in the morning. And with their efforts, they raised over $10,000 to support the Community Partnership Initiative. So that's an example of everyone doing their part. You know, we have the women here today from the Harvard women's team. They're here and they're going to be running the drills that you're going to do. Those of you who are going to play tennis, they're going to help you with some drills to get you warmed up and ready to go. We have the Wentworth team here, men and women, that are going to help us along the way as well with setup and breakdown. And this is, again, an example of the fact that Sportsmen's is a family community club. So we had an event similar to this, just recognizing and welcoming Robert as our board chair. And Don Rodman came from the Rodman Ride for Kids, and when he heard about the program, he donated a van for us to be able to get the kids from here to there. So thank you, Don. Sportsmen has had a wonderful relationship for years with Reebok International. They helped to put in the outdoor courts. They've been a friend. They brought Venus Williams here in the past. And we reached out to them to say, we'd like to just reconnect. We'd like to figure out how we can get together. And when they heard about the program, and in particular, there's a component of Matchpoint which is specifically geared towards children that are having a little difficulty functioning in the mainstream schools. We all have our challenges, and these are children who have basically been given an opportunity to go into an alternative setting and figure out how to be successful so that they can return to a mainstream setting. So Diane Hayes, the Director of Global Sports and Entertainment Marketing at Reebok International, heard about the program, and she agreed to outfit the entire group with shirts, sneakers, sweats, the whole 9 yards, so that they would feel like they are part of this community. So thank you, Diane. If you could please stand. So as you can see, there are many needs, but that's okay because we're all here to help. And we all help in different ways. We all help in our own way. So now I'd like to invite two people to the microphone to share some remarks. So I'd like to ask Lori to come forward and share some remarks with us. Immediately following Lori's remarks, I'm also going to ask Rinthia Ross to come forward. She is the Vice President of Community Affairs for Geico Corporation. They're a brand new partner of ours. They also came along and donated some of the equipment that we use to go out into the community for community tennis. So next you're going to hear from Lori Hamill, immediately followed by Rinthia Ross. Thank you.
It's wonderful to be back here at Sportsmen's and to see so many friends. I was just reminiscing as I was hearing the talk about the role that Sportsmen's has played in this community. And many of you may know that Sportsmen's is one of only one or two indoor tennis facilities in the whole United States that works with African American and diverse populations in the whole country. So Sportsmen's has played a very, very important role in developing tennis in the inner city in Boston, but also as an example for what people can do across this country. And I first came here and met Jim Smith in 1972. And I was playing at that time it was called the Boston City Open. We had 128 people in the men's draw. And I actually lost, I think, second round, I hate to admit. But this will date me a little bit. But I lost on the clay tennis courts of Sportsmen's. So who here has ever played in those clay tennis courts of Sportsmen's? There's a few of us left who played in those clay courts. I always wanted, and I dreamed about bringing those back. But my next effort with in connection with Sportsmen's was when I had the blessing and the privilege to write a book that never got published, but it was a cool book, with Jim Smith. And we did it actually as a 10-lesson program And one of those students was actually Sheldon Lloyd. Sheldon, where are you? Right there. When he was about 10 years old, which is about longer than he's going to want to admit. And also in that class was Les Smith. And if you look at the ad on one of the pages, and they show the logo that Sportsman's had for many years, you'll see a picture of Les Smith. And Sheldon, you're in there somewhere, right, in that picture. And that was a very special class, and it was on Court 4. We taught it for 10 classes. It was a great experience. And I just want to say, I know it'll be mentioned later as well, but I do want to just share my sadness and honor Les Smith. I'm so glad to see Daria here and their child. And I was privileged to be at the memorial service for Les. And he was, when he was in that program, Jim actually snuck him in at 8 years old. He was supposed to be like 9, but Jim lied about his age. And he got in there, and the program was supposed to be 9. I'm joking about the lie, but we had a great experience. It was a good thing. And then in 1997, we came here and developed a special partnership with Sportsmen's Tennis Club. And for 5 years, Longfellow and Sportsmen worked together to help create and build and enhance this program, which has been unique in the country and always welcoming people of all, no matter what their race was or ethnic background or income, to come in and play tennis together, because tennis is a great way for people to connect despite the differences in our backgrounds, the differences in our lifestyles or our lives, because when you're on the tennis court, there's only one thing that's in common, and that's the tennis ball. That's in the tennis court. And you're out there playing with the ball. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. It's the same experience. And I just had a great experience yesterday, because one young man named Mesa May, who was 9 years old when I first met him, who here knows Mesa? Yeah. He was a little guy this high when he was here, when I first met him back in the 90s. And I've been coaching him ever since he's 9. He's now 17, soon to be 18. And he placed 4th in the national 18 under level 1 championships in Arizona in doubles. Came within one put-away volley that he hit, and the guy hit a reflex volley winner to place 3rd. But that was just a great story, because here's a kid who really wanted to play tennis, worked on his game, and has continued through a partnership that started with Sportsmen and Longfellow that we're very honored to be a part of. So we're thrilled to have an opportunity as a result of this fundraiser to actually make another donation to the Sportsmen's Tennis Club, which we're very excited about. We think is going to be a good effort and will help sportsmen continue to grow and thrive into the next 90 years of the century. But thank you for honoring us.
Good morning. I've been looking at this program, and I understand that I stand between you and breakfast or lunch or whatever that is. And I know that there's cornbread over there, and and there's chicken. all of my favorite things. I'm sorry. And so I don't want to give you a long rah speech about Geico, because you probably know about our icons, the lizards. I was just with them, and there are 5 giant Madagascan standing stare geckos that were just installed in the Phoenix Zoo. So I had to go out there and make sure that they were all right. And they are. It was hot out there, so I got here last night and it started snowing, and I said, this is interesting. I'm going to really enjoy being a part of the traveling team that goes to one more state in the Union, the 50th state for us, Massachusetts, because you probably all know that we haven't been here. We're Johnny-come-latelys to Massachusetts, and I know there's someone here from Liberty Mutual, but you know, it's okay. I see you're on the board of directors. I'm gunning for you. So anyway, was that impolitic? Can I ask the politicians over here, was that impolitic? Anyway, I'm Vice President for Public Affairs for Geico, and I bring you greetings from the 24,000 Geico associates around the country. We're the number 3 property casualty company in America. We're the jewel in the crown of Berkshire Hathaway's, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway company. And we've been around for 70 so odd years, but I've only been at Geico for the last 15 going on 16 years. And my job is to go out into the community and give back, because we're a company that has been very profitable, and we're happy about that. But I'm most happiest when I do my job, and that job is to make sure that what we do, what we gain, we also give. And so I'm really happy to be here and happy that we're honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Today, and at the same time helping to provide support to the kids here who are our future. I like getting involved with tennis. We do the Leg Mason presented by Geico down in Washington, D.C., which is a men's tennis tournament. I was also doing the Pilot Pen at one point, and I got kicked out of that by Massachusetts. What's the name of that other insurance company? But anyway. And so tennis is one of my loves. And when I met Toni, and they said, "Oh, there's an opportunity for Geico to be involved in a youth sporting league," I said, "Okay, that's the one we're going to do," because actually I'm a lover of the tennis game. And so I'm excited about the partnership that is going to occur for us. And if there's a space on the board of directors coming up, please, take me into consideration. Anyway, is that shameless? Anyway, thank you so much for having me, for inviting me, and for being a part of this this event and this organization. And kids, I'm really excited for you and what you have here. This is a jewel, so don't take it for granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cynthia, and welcome to the family. We're happy to have you, and we will be in touch about the board for certain. So Sportsmen's Tennis Club works closely in partnership with the U.S. Tennis Association, and there's a reason for that. There are a few reasons for that. One is that while we want our kids to have fun and to excel and to be the best that they can be, we also want them to know that there is an avenue for them, whether their choice is to get on their high school team, whether it's to get into college and play on their college team, whether it's to get a college scholarship, whether it's to pursue a career. We want them to know that we take tennis seriously. So we run about 24 tournaments here that are sanctioned by the USTA, and we work in partnership. We make sure that our pros are certified and that all of our lesson plans are done in accordance with the USTA guidelines. Additionally, we partner with the USTA because we want to make sure that there is a voice that's making sure that the community is heard from and that we are influencing them the same way that they're influencing us. So we're thrilled that they've chosen to have an entire table here today to be with us in this celebration. And I'd like to invite at this time Jeff Waters, who is the Executive Director of the USTA New England, who will introduce his table and share some remarks. Jeff.
Thanks, Toni. As you mentioned, there are a couple of associates with me today that I'd like to introduce. Dan Lumbago, who's the National Manager for NJTL. Toni Nimmons, who's the Coordinator of Officials for the U.S. Tennis Association. I'll introduce Kevin Clayton at the end, but I also wanted to introduce at the table Danae Davis. Danae is the current President of USTA Eastern Mass. And I also wanted to recognize Diane and Don Cortese. Diane is the chair of officials for USTA New England. They've been very instrumental in supporting the circuit event here at Sportsman's and helping to bring that event here. Diane, you and Don are here. Would you stand up? Back in the back. A special congratulations to Toni for the outstanding job that you're doing, not only in this event today, but in pulling the organization and providing the leadership for Sportsman's along with the board. Truly a remarkable individual to work with. I'd also like to say congratulations to all of the staff and the volunteers who have been so instrumental in shaping the history of this organization and setting the benchmark so high for this organization to move forward in the future. When I was reflecting back on the history of the Sportsmen's Tennis Association, and I was thinking about this association being the first African-American owned tennis facility in the country, I was reminded that Sportsman's truly is a landmark. And not just because of the space you occupy here in Dorchester, but you're also a landmark in the evolution and development in the history of the sport of tennis. It's truly remarkable. I also recognize, as many others do, that Sportsmen does far more than just provide tennis instruction. And that's not to downplay the tennis instruction, because it's of the highest standard. When you think of the high school champions, the district champions, the sectional champions, and also the national champions that have been developed at this organization, the tennis instruction truly is of the highest standards. But I know that Sportsmen does and provides more service than just on-court instruction. When you add to that the social, the life skill development, and the educational opportunities that the kids are provided with, it's what truly sets Sportsmen apart from many other organizations. And it's one of the reasons why, in the past, Tennis Week has recognized the Sportsmen's Tennis Club as the #1 community tennis association in the United States. It's also why USTA New England recognized Sportsmen as the Member Organization of the Year in 2009. Over the years, I've had the privilege of coming in contact with a number of different people that have been involved in different capacities with the Sportsmen's Tennis Club. And there's one thing that comes and stays in my mind on a regular basis, and Toni alluded to that earlier when she mentioned the Sportsmen's family. I've heard so many people talk about being part of the Sportsmen's family. And when they say that, you can almost hear the tone in their voice change. And it's almost a magical statement, a sense of belonging, a sense of unity, and a sense of the community coming together. It's a privilege for USTA New England to be here today, to be considered part of the Sportsmen's family. Pledge that we're going to be here for the future and all of our support that we can offer in going forward. At this time, I'd like to introduce and turn the microphone over to the Chief Diversity Officer for the United States Tennis Association, Kevin Clayton.
All right, on behalf of the United States Tennis Association, our national staff and board of directors, I bring you greetings. And as the Chief Diversity Officer, I'm relatively new to the relationship with Sportsmen. I know many of you know Sportsmen from a number of different years and time, but recently I had a chance over, I guess a couple months ago, to come over and meet with Toni and some of the board of directors. And we met to talk about how can we move the relationship forward? How can we strengthen the relationship that we had? And what's not typical about that is that my scope as kind of national Chief Diversity Officer, a specific quote that I want to read to you that's actually in my office. And it's a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King. "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy." And when I think about Sportsmen and I think about you celebrating your 50 years, you obviously portray exactly those words. United States Tennis Association nationally stands with you, Toni, and your board of directors, and we are here to help facilitate the dream that Martin Luther King had and the vision that you have for your facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin and Jeff, and to the entire USTA representation for being here with us. It wouldn't be possible to stand here and talk about those who made it possible for us to be here without giving a special remembrance to Jim and Gloria Smith, who built the club, and to Les Smith, who sadly passed away last year. I'm actually going to ask Sheldon Lloyd if he will come forward and just share some comments about the Smith family, and Daria Smith to come forward and talk a little bit about Les and his legacy here. Sheldon is with City Fresh Foods, who is catering today's event pro bono, so we thank him for that as well. Sheldon?
Greetings, thank you, supporters of Sportsmen. This is a tribute to the founders, the Smith family. From a Sportsman's graduate, I had my first lessons, junior competition, prepared for college, went on to play college tennis, returned as an instructor, currently a business owner in the area as well, right down the street. The Smiths, this African-American family, built a tennis center in the inner city of Boston in the 1960s. Now, I'm a local entrepreneur in the city, and I know how hard it is in present day, but let me repeat that again. Boston, tennis, inner city, 1960s. And this was the Smiths' mission. Oh, I can't forget the famous backboard, the black backboard. Many of us spent many hours on it. I, as many others who grew up with the Smiths at Sportsmen's, spent most of my time with Mr. Smith, Jim, and Les Smith, his son. Mrs. Smith, Gloria, seemed to keep Mr. Smith grounded, organized, focused on the plan, the administrator. Mr. Smith instilled discipline and work ethic. If you can picture this, many students spread across this court, playing imaginary tennis, just swinging in the air with rackets. It was racket back, step, swing. Over and over again. We didn't hit any tennis balls until the afternoon. Mr. and Mrs. Smith were like our parents. Les Smith was raised by these two strong, driven parents. His dad, too, had developed his game. He had one of the best serves and slice backhands, hands down at the club. He was a talent. He was a natural. And Les, too, had a signature laugh like his dad. I consider it to be constant and kid-like. I will close with this. What many learn from the Smiths are lifelong lessons: discipline and repetition, the mental chess game, the game of tennis, which allowed me to travel, meet all types of people wherever I landed. We were called the kids from Sportsmen. And this is just my story. Thank you.
I want to thank you for inviting us. We're thrilled to be here, and I especially wanted Jaden to be here to know the legacy of Sportsmen, which is so, so important. I just want to pick up on what Jeff was talking about as far as life skills. I feel like I was the direct beneficiary of those life skills. Les was an incredibly determined, solid person, not only because of his parents, as Sheldon mentioned, but certainly because of all the people that he played with and the friends that he made. He was also someone, and Steve and I were talking about this last night, that as many people said to me over the past year, Les was fearless as he dealt with his disease. But I remarked to Steve last night that it wasn't being fearless. It was actually facing his fear and working through it. And I think that that is one of the incredible lessons that he learned here. Again, not only from his parents, but from all of his peers. I also just want to echo the comment about the Sportsmen's family. For those of you that were at the memorial service, you heard me talk about the incredible, incredible outpouring of support that happened the last few days of Les's life. People came in from Maryland and DC and New Jersey, and people just flew in and sat at his bedside. And that really is what's at the heart of this place. It is truly a family. Everyone is interconnected and will always be. And I hope that that continues here. This looks like a fabulous turnout, so I congratulate both the board and the staff. And we look forward to continuing to be part of Sportsmen. Thank you.
For kids. So we offer a whole range of academic programs. This year we're starting a program called Math Stars, which is with Northeastern University, an organization called Math Power that will teach high-level math and science to kids in grades 6 through 9. We have a program called Royal Reader, which is an early literacy program for pre-K up through the third.
Using the ideals that Sportsmen represents every single day. I'm Robert Lewis Jr., the chair of the board, and it is a privilege to be the chair of this fine organization. Toni was up earlier, and Toni gets up and she acknowledges and she celebrates everybody. But I'll tell you something, we couldn't do any of the work unless we had this great leader. And I just want to publicly acknowledge and applaud Toni Wiley for your leadership. And it is a privilege to work with you and learn from you as well. Thank you, Toni. The sponsors and supporters have been recognized. Thank you. The staff and the board has been recognized. Thank you. USTA has been recognized. Thank you. The young folks have been recognized. Thank you. The parents, we want to recognize you for believing and trusting in us to give your most precious commodity in your life as your young people for something special. Sportsmen has been recognized locally and nationally. One of the great also aspects of Sportsmen is the educational aspect, and because of this institution, our young people in our city of Boston have the opportunity for all of our young people who participate in here to attend in the graduate college. And that is why the mayor's not here today, because he's signing legislation to ensure that we're going to continue to grow and enhance the educational opportunities for our students throughout our Commonwealth, but particularly here in Boston. And it is important that every single one of our young people has an opportunity to graduate high school, attend college, and to graduate college. And that's what happens here at Sportsmen's Tennis. When I think of Dr. King, I think of vision. When I think of Dr. King, I think of leadership. When I think of Dr. King, I think of passion, organizing, values, and righteousness. But when I think of all of those qualities, I think of the same of George A. Russell Jr. George's bio is here, and I will read that. But a couple of things that inspires me is, George, you are a tremendous leader because you're from here. You went to Sportsmen. You grew up in this community. You are a living and a breathing role model of what every young person who comes from the city of Boston can become. And I just thank you for that. And I know George is committed to young people. George is committed to communities. George is committed to nonprofits. George is committed to social justice and righteousness, not just local, not regional, national, but global. He is, and I've said this publicly in meetings, he is one of the finest leaders that we have in our city, in our country, and throughout our world. George Russell is the Executive Vice President and Director of Community Affairs for State Street Corporation. He has more than 30 years of experience in banking and financing, beginning his career at State Street Bank and Trust Company in Boston. Mr. Russell served as Treasurer and Chief Financial Officer of the City of Boston and President and CEO of Freedom National Bank of New York. In addition to managing State Street's Community Affairs Division, and I can say in my professional job, we're also a recipient of his great leadership in one of the initiatives that we're leading on. And George, who called out the business community to stand up and to support the leadership and rights of young folks, because no young people in the city of Boston should be getting killed in murder. And that was George who did that as a business leader, George. And again, I want to just continue to acknowledge your leadership. He is the chairman of the board and president of the State Street Foundation and responsible for the State Street's philanthropic and community support programs globally. He is past chairman of the board for both the Urban League of Massachusetts, and their CEO, Darnell, is here today with us, and the Financial Services Academy. He currently serves on the board of directors of One United Bank, which is the second largest African-American owned and operated commercial bank in the United States, Tufts Health Plan Foundation, and is on the board of trustees of the Massachusetts Math and Sciences Initiative. Mr. Russell is a graduate of Clark University and received his MBA in finance from New York University Stern School of Business. Folks, can we all come and join this year's ICIC 2010 honoree, George A. Russell Jr.
Of young people's lives in Boston over the years. Dr. King's legacy is global in reach and message, but the impact of the Sportsmen's Tennis Club is just as real for those who have played here in the youth program. Now, while I was not a part of the youth program, years ago I did take full advantage of this wonderful facility. I played, or I guess I really should say I attempted to play tennis here with colleagues, and thought it was great to know that this wonderful institution within our community where young people could come together, learn how to play tennis, and interact with other young people, and feel safe and secure and not worry about being victimized. The Sportsmen's Tennis Club has truly made and continues to make a significant difference in the lives of so many young people, and we should be thankful that this club has been here for almost 50 years, and because it really is providing a vital service for so many young and not so young people in our communities. The qualities that endeared the Sportsmen's Club to me are the same attributes that State Street and the State Street Foundation find worthy of support. Central to these qualities is the belief that children of all racial and economic backgrounds deserve the opportunity to participate in activities that make them feel good about themselves and what they can accomplish. I don't think Dr. King was talking about tennis when he said, and I quote, "Everybody can be great because everybody can serve." And hopefully he wouldn't mind a little poetic license in this circumstance. In fact, I'm sure he'd be very proud of the club and its mission to help young people become successful adults. For many of the children who play tennis at this club, their time on the court builds self-esteem, self-mastery, character, and for some it may be a place where they feel the safest after school to come, be with their friends. We saw the video and enjoy the company and learn something that's going to be beneficial to them throughout their lives. And when children have the opportunity to thrive in a safe environment, it can have a positive impact on their self-esteem, their academic careers, and their ability to navigate a complex world. As president of the State Street Foundation and the head of community affairs for State Street Corporation, I spend quite a bit of time each year in Europe, in Asia, and throughout North America. I do this because State Street is a global company with operations worldwide. As a result, our community support programs are global in nature, and the State Street Foundation and State Street Community Affairs programs are up and running in 35 locations worldwide. The issues of child safety, youth violence, and many other issues exist all over the world. Wherever I go, same issues, be it in Hong Kong, Tokyo, Singapore, Sydney, Paris, London, Germany, Switzerland. The same issues that we talk about here, people are talking about those, and those same issues exist everywhere. It is equally clear worldwide that when children feel safe and have that opportunity to thrive, they become self-confident, productive adults and members of society. And that is why at State Street, we believe organizations like the Sportsmen's Tennis Club are important to healthy child development, particularly for at-risk youth. And we know that when children grow into self-sustaining adults, that is good for their families, it's good for the community, and it's good for the overall health of the local economy. Now, while State Street is a global company, it has been headquartered in Boston for more than 200 years and is committing to help the city of Boston remain strong and vibrant. We believe that supporting the Sportsmen's Tennis Club enables us to do just that. Now, your presence here this afternoon shows that you also believe in the club's work. So thank you for supporting the important organization like this one, and through it, the children it helps to become great tennis players and even greater citizens. Before I leave the podium, there are two more issues that I feel compelled to raise. First, Dr. King led by example and clearly believed in being of service for the greater good. And I think we heard Councilor Yancey and Representative Gloria Fox say this, and I want to repeat it, and that is that we all need to act on his belief by serving the people of Haiti with funds for critical relief and recovery efforts. This is an important moment in time due to extraordinary circumstances when we are all called to service. So please contribute to help the hundreds of thousands of people in Haiti who need food, water, shelter, and medicine. Now, many corporations and foundations throughout the United States are contributing to this relief effort, and I'm proud to inform you that the State Street Foundation is contributing $400,000 to the Haiti relief effort. Thank you. And matching employee contributions up to an additional $100,000. Finally, tomorrow, as we all know, there is a special election being held for the U.S. Senate seat that was held by Ted Kennedy. Now, no matter what your political stripe, be it Republican, Democrat, or Independent, I encourage you to exercise the right that so many leaders like Dr. King fought for by voting. So again, good luck to everybody on today's tournament, and thank you so much for honoring me in this way.
Sorry. So on behalf of Sportsmen's Tennis Club, our youth, our juniors, our board of directors, our staff, I'm happy to present you with this award, but more importantly, I'm happy to have you among us and happy to follow your lead. Thank you.
Thank you.
For you? Thank you. Yes, and I'll get replace it.
Hi, my name is Ashley Nelson. I'm 15 years old and I'm in the 10th grade. I've been attending Sportsmen since December of 2008. I just started playing in the Optimum program last year. Sportsmen's, and if I'm not playing a tournament, if someone else is playing a tournament, I go there and support them. Everybody here is like family. It's a safe place to be, and just to continue to support Sportsmen. Thank you.
Truly speaking from the heart. Without question, Sportsmen's Tennis Club has contributed greatly to my mental and physical growth, character development, community pride, and awareness. This facility holds for me a lot of very significant firsts. It was my first stop after leaving the hospital when I was born. Gave me my first job under the mentorship of my dear friend Les Smith at the age of 16 as a tennis instructor, and to coincide with that, my first of many opportunities to give back to my community. So standing here before you is a 2006 Shorter College graduate with a bachelor's degree in public relations, Touch FM radio personality and producer, and still a tennis instructor for our Optimum, Class, and Boston Public School groups.
Good afternoon. My name is Lindsey. I'm 24 years old and I work for the state doing healthcare reform. I hope. And I started coming to Sportsmen's when I was 8 years old, and at that point the saying was, adults pay so children can play. And even though slogans evolve and change over time, until I matriculated to Yale University and had the opportunity to be a 4-year varsity student athlete. So with that, I know it's brief, but with that, I'd like to thank Toni, Wiley for allowing me to share my brief experience. It's just one of many.
Thank you.